So I'd like to welcome Kirk Pengilly, famous for producing some of the best music Australia has ever known as a member of INXS, but now has become known for producing a very fine rosé. Welcome, Kirk.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
So tell us, about going back a little bit when Lane said to you, what do we have in common that will keep us together? What was the answer to that question?
The story is that Lane and I met 20 years ago, had a horrendous first date. Neither of us were interested. We were both completely opposite. We just didn't really, at first anyway, have anything in common. She loved red wine. I liked white wine. I didn't drink red and she didn't drink white. Anyway, we found rosé and met in the middle, and both fell in love with rosé as well. Going forward a few years from that, Lane came on tour with me. And this one particular night, I think we'd played in Santa Barbara, and we pretty much came off stage, jumped on the bus and drove to LA. And then we have to wait for the bags to come. We were waiting for a while and we switched the TV on and there was this show on called Wife Swap. They get these two couples and they actually swap the wives or swap the husbands and let them live in their lives for a couple of weeks or whatever. Crazy show. I think on the show, what the woman that had been swapped out said, to the sort of the faux husband, what do we have in common? And anyway, we listened to the answer and both laughed at it. And then Lane said to me, so what do we have in common? What do you think will kind of make our relationship last? And so what do we have in common? And I went, rosé. And so rosé became a big sort of part of our lives. Not that we're alcoholics now, but we both love rosé. And over all those years, we never found the rosé. And so one day I was staying with a friend that lives up near the Byron, and we were talking about rosé, and I said, it'd be fun to maybe make one. I don't know how we do it. And he dabbled in winemaking, this other friend, Mike. And he called me up about a month later and said, I've found a winemaker, we're going to do it. And he actually found a pretty amazing winemaker, a guy called Rob Mack out of McLaren Vale. And so the three of us formed a company, KP Wine, and put out our first rosé last year.
Fantastic. It's very exciting. And so it was actually sort of like created in COVID.
It was a bit of a bummer because we had planned, the first week last July in 2021 to all go over to McLaren Vale where the winemaker lives and do what we call the blending. So we ended up doing the blending via Zoom. Rob sent over a sample of each bottle, the Grenache from old oak barrels and the Grenache from stainless steel and the Mataro from the same stainless steel oak, and we sat there and started blending it along his advice of how much I had to buy, like a test tube thing to measure and all that sort of stuff. And the funny thing was is that Lane and I had our bottles in the wrong order, and so we were blending it, and then we went, no, I don't think so. I think maybe it needs more of that, and then we went, oh,
wow.
So we put them back in the right
hilarious.
order, and so we mixed it up the way it was meant to be, and we just went, that's it. The best rosé we've ever tried.
Would you have ever imagined yourself being described as a winemaker?
No, a wine drinker, but not a wine maker. Yeah. So it's been a lot of work, and I had, this is actually the first interview I've done about the wine. So thank you.
Exciting. Thank you.
And I wanted to keep it small because last year we only had 200 cases, which is not a lot, and then this year we managed to squeeze out 320 cases. It's small, it's boutique, and so basically I've been door knocking and using relationships with chef friends and literally going to restaurants and asking if I can see the beverage manager and trying to get him to taste it and that sort of thing. So it's challenging, and a lot of these people, they just don't get back to you. We've managed to get it into, I think we're nearly up to about 20 sort of venues in predominantly New South Wales. We've got a place in Adelaide. We've got Bistro C up in Noosa. And
Herring room here. I tried it myself, which is why I wanted to talk to you, because I was with Lindy Milan and Kathy Wagstaff, and we were having a catch up, and we saw your wine and tried. It was just fabulous. We loved it.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's really good. I mean, that was the scary part. It had to be really good quality to put my name to it.
For you, would you describe it as like a full-time role or a side hustle? How would you? Because obviously you want to fit in all your creative outlets as well. This is one of them, isn't it?
Yeah, look, I'm not doing much musically anymore. I've kind of, I wanted to open up, opportunities, other things I could do. I've done music my whole life, and so I want my twilight years to be fun and try some different things, and this is one of them. That's creative in its own way. The design as well, of course.
It's a great design. It's fantastic. I can see your face through.
Yeah.
Through the bottle.
Well, that was the idea. We thought if we get a bit bigger, we might do a competition where people do a selfie with Kirk, and you can line it up so that it's better when the bottle's empty, actually, but you can line it up so that the glasses are in the perfect place, and run a competition, and they can win on lunch with Lane and I or something. But we're not big enough yet to sort of be able to do something like that.
And I love the fact that it's a love story. I love the fact that it's something that obviously Lane has been involved even in the trialing of the product.
Yep.
You're researching it and putting it together, producing a product from scratch. It's like a wonderful thing.
It has been a really fun and interesting journey. We'll keep at it and see how it goes.
Just a quick description of the rosé itself.
It's sort of full of aromatics, and probably a lot of that's to do with the Mataro and strawberries and blood orange and grapefruit. So it's very dry. It's quite a bold wine when you drink it, and I wanted to make it fairly bold because I used to notice how, especially a lot of women on a warm summer's day, and restaurants and things will put ice cubes in their rosé. And Lane does that too, and I always thought, it gets really kind of watered down. So I wanted it to be.
I've seen that too. I've done it myself.
Yeah. So I wanted it to be, quite bold, so that if you did water it down a bit with ice, it was still tasty, and it wasn't just like water.
I'd just like to ask, for those people who think of putting themselves out of their comfort zone and starting something that they've not done before, like you, what's your advice to them?
I think you have to be passionate about whatever it is, and really want to do it, because it's not easy. It's a lot of work with a startup of any time. So I think most of all, just being passionate about the project, and I think always, and I think that this really applied to INXS's music. We always made sure that the songs we created, we loved them. We were just really, really happy with them. And when you're in the studio, you listen to a song when you're recording it maybe 100 times or more. And if you still like it after that, then that's kind of a good sign. So I think whatever it is you do, you have to be passionate about it, and you have to.
Now with the wine, so the rosé. So good luck with it, and thanks for catching up with us today.
Thanks, Robin. Thank you.
Thanks, Kirk.